Hey friends, so this is video number 3 and I've got a couple books I wanted to read with you and show you a pamphlet. So this book is called Let's Look for Birds. And see, this young little boy has binoculars and he's looking. Wonder what he's looking for. Did you say birds? You're right. So this book was written by Marcia Freeman, and I do not know who took the pictures, but it is a fact book, so it's true. Let's look for birds. Ooh, look at these birds. These are baby birds. And there's the mama bird. And I know that this is a robin because it's got a dark brownish black back and a red breast. If you look real close, she's got a bug to feed her baby birds. Baby birds are very, very hungry. We can look for birds in the woods. And we looked for birds in the woods behind my house just a little while ago. And we can look for birds in a field. So if you live near a field or maybe a park that has an open field, you might be able to find birds out there. We can look for birds near water. This little girl's found a mallard. And there's the mama mallard, and that would be the daddy mallard. You might find them at ponds. Like near my house, we have a pond across the street that has Canada geese and mallards and other ducks. Up there he is with his binoculars. We can look for birds with binoculars. I had binoculars, but I think my son Caleb borrowed them and hasn't returned them. We saw this bird. Do you remember what this bird was called? That's right, it's a cardinal. You may see a cardinal. And we may see a seagull. So this is a gull. Normally you see them at the beach or at the lake, but sometimes you see them at McDonald's or Wendy's or Chick-fil-A. The seagulls, they like free food, and people tend to feed them French fries. I really think that's what seagulls like. I don't know for sure, but every time I see one, that's what I feed them. Ah, do you know what this one is? That's right, that's a bald eagle. See his beautiful white head? He's got that bright yellow beak that has a little crook to it and brownish black feathers right here. That's a bald eagle. You may see a bald eagle. It's fun to look for birds. So I hope that you can go outside and look for birds. So I have another book, a life-size bird book. And these are birds from all across the United States, North America. And guess what this bird is? There's that beautiful white head and a dark brownish black feathers, that beautiful bright yellow beak with a little crook there for catching fish and other small mammals. And look at them bright golden eyes. That's right, that is a bald eagle. And this book was made by Nancy Hajeski. So not all birds in this book can be seen, and I don't know if we're going to go for all of them. So I wish they would tell you what the birds were on the pages, but it don't. That's some kind of condor, I believe. And do you know what these are? That's right, hummingbirds. Let's see, lots of words. Lots of words. So, oh, look at here. Here's some hummingbirds. Oh, look, and this map here tells me that these birds are on these 2 pages can be found in North Carolina, because right there is North Carolina. And these are ruby-throated hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are very small and very fast birds. This would be how big they are. Look at that. My hand is bigger than a hummingbird. And they like to get nectar from flowers. Hummingbirds can fly in the air and stay in one spot, kind of like a helicopter. They can fly forward, backward, side to side while they get the nectar. You see how their beak is like a straw? That's how they get the nectar out of the flowers. Here's some hummingbirds that live near, I'm not sure, that's California and parts of Mexico. Look how beautiful these are. These are Costa hummingbirds. And just like our ruby-throated hummingbirds, they're very small too. And here's some Anna's hummingbirds, and these live on the west coast. Looks like from Washington State all the way down towards the top of Mexico. And these are Anna hummingbirds. All hummingbirds are really small, and they all have the same kind of beak for drinking nectar out of flowers. So let's see. This bird, you can find this in North Carolina, is a golden crowned kinglet. Another small bird. Here's a California gnatcatcher. So these are found in California. An American bush tit, another bird found out west. See, there's the west one. There's no North Carolina in that map. Did you know there was so many different birds? Here's a warbler that's found in the northern part of the western United States. I've seen these around my house. As you can see, they're in North Carolina. These are black and white warblers. Yep, I've seen this lady here. And I have seen, there we are, one of my favorite birds, very common. You see them everywhere. A black-capped chickadee. You might also see a tufted titmouse. I've seen both of these in my backyard. They're little, but they're funny. Chickadees have a lot of character. There's one that comes to our feeder on the back porch. We call him Pablo. And look, you see that little birdhouse over there? Pablo has a nest in that birdhouse. That's why I'm not going to go over there and bother him or her. And these are nuthatches. I've seen these in our backyard too. Oh, and of course, there's always the beautiful goldfinches. We see these, and we see purple finches and house finches in my backyard. When you watch the video, you might see them also. Goldfinches are a very bright, bright yellow. They're very beautiful. Let's see. Tree swallows. Usually I see these at night or around our school. I haven't seen them at my bird feeder. But look at these teeny tiny baby birds. When they're born, they have no feathers. Chipping sparrows are another bird that we see a lot at my bird feeders. And dark-eyed juncos. I call these snowbirds. I see a lot of these birds right before we get a lot of snow, which is kind of interesting. My grandmother used to say, the more of the juncos you see, the more snow we're going to get. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen a lot of juncos before it snows. And here's a Carolina wren. Now, we have a Carolina wren who builds a nest on our back porch, so I don't go back there and bother her. It's right by my husband's old grill, and it really does. It looks like this. She buried it in a bunch of old boxes and a couple of towels that we left out there, and we can't disturb it because we don't want her to disappear. It's fun to watch the babies hatch and learn how to fly. And here's some sparrows. These are out in California. These are sagebush. And these are red-eyed juncos. Vieros. I've not seen these. Look, there's some eggs in a nest. And eastern phoebes. I've seen phoebes. Or phoebes. Some call them phoebes. Let's see. And there's some swifts, but we don't have those. Oh, listen. Look. There's the geese going to the pond. Ooh, a scarlet tanager. Now, once in a while, you'll see these. They're usually flying over when they're going to migrate. They go south. And, of course, who can forget the beautiful bluebirds? You might have a bluebird house. They're so beautiful. They have bright blue feathers and a red chest. And these are thrushes. Sometimes you see these around here. And eastern towhee. Isn't he pretty? Now, I don't normally see these on my feeders, but I've seen them in the woods. And orioles. Sometimes you get lucky and you see an oriole. Normally it's when they're flying from south to north. And cedar waxwings are beautiful. They make you think of a cardinal because they have that tuft on their head. And then their feathers look like they're really, really wet. But that's just their feathers. They love berries. One of my favorite birds are red-winged blackbirds. And in the spring, you can see, you won't see them here, but in the summer, they start showing up around the pond. And then there's the European starlings. Another bird. When you see these giant bird balls in the sky, that's what I call them. They're like a giant ball of birds flying. That's normally your starlings. And they have these beautiful speckled feathers that have rainbow colors in them when the light hits. And their eggs are blue. So are robin eggs. There's a purple martin. You might see these. I've seen the females at my feeder, but not the males. And there's the cardinal. Beautiful cardinal. And a grosbeak. There's a yellow one, and that's the evening grosbeak. And then there's the rose-breasted grosbeak. And these are thrushes. So these are out west again. Let's see. And there's the beautiful robin with the beautiful red breast. And see, blue eggs. A meadowlark. I've never seen a meadowlark at my feeder. That'd be kind of cool to see them. A little bit bigger bird. You can see that they're bigger because they're bigger than my hand. And a shrike. I've never seen a shrike. But it's interesting. Of course, no wonder I've never seen a shrike. They're not in North Carolina. So all these birds are called songbirds. A mockingbird. A mockingbird, I have a mockingbird nest in that bush over there. If we could look straight down right here at the top, there's a bird nest of a mockingbird. Now, mockingbirds are the ones that will chase off other birds and cats and me if I try to go look at her nest again. There's a beautiful bluebird. Not a bluebird, Miss Rusti, it's a blue jay. So where bluebirds are all blue with a red breast, blue jays have that little bit of a tough like crown on their head and the pointed black beak. And their feathers are various shades of blue and white and no red breast. Very pretty though, aren't they? And look, that one, it's got a peanut. I heard they like peanut. And look how big he is compared to my hand. And a common grackle. Now, I see a lot of grackles at my feeders. And I have to go scare them away or they'll eat all that bird food. But they're actually kind of pretty. I don't know, he has a menacing look on his face, like he might be mean. But I don't think so. I think they're pretty. Look at those feathers. See how that has a rainbow sheen to it? And this is a Steller's jay. So this says it's not in North Carolina. But I think they're a very beautiful bird. And it's another one with a blue egg. And there's the mourning doves. They're the ones that you hear go coo, coo. Listen. I think I heard one far away. Usually doves build their nests in the ground and in the grass. And see, there's North Carolina. This is a black-billed magpie. I've never seen a magpie because they're not in North Carolina, but I think they're really neat. Because look at that rainbow in that one and that white on their wing. And these are some different bird eggs. Bird eggs come in a variety of sizes. Teeny tiny little hummingbirds to big, huge ones that ostrich and emus lay. Oh, and now we're getting to some bigger ones. Do you know what this one is? If you said a crow, you're right. I really like crows. I think they're funny birds. And they're also very smart. And I have seen them play on slides and with silver balls. Silver, like the jingle bells and in balls. They're very interesting birds. And look, you can see crows all around North America. This is a northern raven. And you might see them, it looks like, in the mountains of North Carolina. I've seen them in different parts of North Carolina. They're bigger than a crow, and they have a bigger beak. And these are woodpeckers. So woodpeckers like to peck on wood. This is a downy woodpecker. It's a little bit smaller than some of the other woodpeckers, as you can see. Fits in my hand. And they're all across the United States. This is a red-headed woodpecker. This is the one that sometimes comes to my back porch. And see, all over North Carolina. They're very cool birds. And this is the red-bellied woodpecker. This is my friend who visits a lot at our back porch to eat those blackbird seeds. And he pecks at the seed to open it up. See, they build their nests inside trees too. And this is a white-headed woodpecker. So these are seen out west, like in California. And there is a pileated woodpecker. So you find them in North Carolina. And see how he's got that point in his head? These are getting harder to find because they're an endangered species. And they're so beautiful. And this would be the roadrunner. We don't have roadrunners in North Carolina because we don't have a desert. They like the dry desert land and the dry grasslands. And no, they don't go beep beep. But they do run very fast. Oh, one of my other favorite birds, a bob white. They go bob white, bob white. And they like to live in the grass. And these are pheasants. We don't have them in North Carolina either, but they're so big. Look at that tail. A beautiful long tail. So this would be the size of his head if he was sitting next to me. And wild turkeys. Wild turkeys are everywhere. And turkeys are cool because the male turkeys, the Toms and Jakes, have a beard on their chest. And then all of the turkeys have a bald head with a wobbler, which this one you can't see because it's kind of going up. And they have spurs on their feet to protect them from predators. Turkeys can fly. And you see them more on the ground, but you also see them in the trees at night. And a baby turkey is called a poult. So with it being spring, you might hear turkeys gobbling in the woods. You just go, gobble, 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 gobble. You might hear a turkey. These are nighthawks. I see them a lot at the beach. And these are Mississippi kites. So you wouldn't see this here. They're more down south. But it has a beak like a eagle or a hawk because they eat small mammals. And this is a peregrine falcon. So you see them in the mountains and up north, like in Alaska and Canada. And these are the ones that live like on the side of the rocks, and they dive really fast. They're one of the fastest birds. They can almost go to 200 miles per hour when they're in a full dive. And this is a Cooper's hawk. So you might see these around North Carolina. This is the actual size of one. Imagine it being on my hand. That would be so cool. And there's a red-tailed hawk. So we see a lot of these around here. And that's just part of his top. So that if he was sitting here, he'd be bigger than the book. And there's an osprey. So it shows here, you see them on the coast and stuff. We actually have osprey around here near the big lakes. And they build their nests. They're really big, beautiful nests. They usually build them in them tall power lines or in cell towers. And there's our bald eagle. And that's the actual size. So they can't fit him in a book either. He is big, isn't he? And sometimes you might see golden eagles. The bald eagles are beautiful. And you can see them all across the United States and up into Canada. This is a turkey vulture. So turkey vultures eat like the animals that are on the side of the road that vehicles have hit. See? Yep. Help decompose bones. They're pretty cool. So this is the actual size of its head. And there's your little screech owl. So cute. They're little. You can put him on my finger. See how big he is? And see, North Carolina. Owls are nocturnal. So you'll see them at night. Here's a barn owl. You see them in North Carolina too. The snowy owls you see up in the northern part. And there's a great horned owl. That's the big owl. Look how beautiful his feathers are. He looks so soft. And look, there's their babies. They're owlets, they're chicks. And here's some more warblers waders that we might see at the beach and in the water. Sandpipers. So these you might see at the beach. There's a Virginia rail, an American woodcock. I've seen these down at the beach. And they've got that real long beak. Not for getting nectar from flowers, but for eating bugs and insects. And they dip their heads in the water and grab the little mollusks and stuff out of the mud. And there is a plover, which you see plovers more up north in Alaska and northern parts of Canada. Now, killdeer, we see them here. They're the ones that if you're outside on your playground at school or in your yard, you might hear that chattering high-pitched noise and then see a bird out like it's hurt. That's probably the mama killdeer. And what she's trying to do is she's not really hurt. She's just trying to get you away from her nest because her nest is on the ground. And there's a great heron. We see these around here at the ponds and lakes. And an oyster catcher. So that's another West Coast bird we wouldn't see around here. But look at that bright orange beak. So that's an egret. You'll see these around North Carolina, the beaches, and especially around swamps and marshes. And this is a black-crowned night heron. So imagine he's nocturnal. Look at those red eyes and that beak for catching bugs and fish. And this is a white ibis. And you might see a red ibis, a scarlet ibis, like down in the South America. And this is the white ibis. Look, he's got blue eyes. Isn't that interesting? They live down in Florida. They might come through North Carolina when they're making nests and having babies, but laying eggs. Otherwise, they're mostly in Florida. This is an American bittern. Another bird that lives near marshes and stuff. Look at that long beak. A spoonbill. So a rosette spoonbill, mostly Texas and Central America and Mexico. They have pink feathers like flamingos. And this is a wood stork. They're another endangered species. See how beautiful their wings are? And you might see them in North Carolina, but it's not very common. And this is a sandhill crane. So they're mostly up north in Canada and Alaska. That's a big bird. And blue herons, so great blue herons we see around here a lot, especially on my pond across the street. They have those very long legs, and they love frogs. And this is a flamingo. So if you see a flamingo, usually in Florida, they probably got out from the zoo. They're from Africa. They're migrant birds. So they come from like Bahamas and Central America. There's a lot of them in Africa. They're beautiful. And they're very tall. And here's some more water birds. These are seen up north. Petrels. And an auklet. It's out west. Look at that. Floats on the water like a duck. Ooh. An Atlantic puffin. So these are up in like in Alaska and Canada. Aren't they pretty cool? And these are grebes. They're up north also. See how it's got his baby on his back? Reminds me of a loon. An American coot. It's a type of duck. You see these in North Carolina. Well, they remind me of a duck. It's actually a duck. Kingfishers, you'll see them in North Carolina. They usually look like this when I see them. And black skimmers. We're almost to the end of our book. And these are royal terns. You'll see them on the beaches and the marshes. Oh, and laughing gulls. They're the ones that go, ah. You see them along the coast. Not so much inland. I see them a lot in the marshes at the beach. And this is a herring gull. So like I was telling you, gulls come a lot of places. These are the ones that you might see at McDonald's or in the parking lots of fast food restaurants. I saw them when I went to the Great Lakes. These are the Great Lakes up here in this area. In Michigan, I saw them up there. This is one of my favorite birds. Although it shows them being up north, if you look, there's a little bit of red on North Carolina. I've seen them at the beach floating on the waves in the water. They're pretty cool. And they have that real long, mournful song when they do it on the lake, and it echoes. It's kind of, I can't even think of how it sounds. It just has an interesting sound. This is a cormorant. So you'll see these along the beach in North Carolina. They have really interesting, they look like they have big eyebrows. And here's a wood duck. You'll see these a lot of times. And this is mallards. That's a black duck. And there's a golden eye. So these are out west, so you wouldn't see these. And there's an eider. So these are up north along Canada and Alaska. And a merganser. I like mergansers. Look at that tuft on his head. You might see these. Look at all the babies on her back. Yep, you'll see these in North Carolina. You might even see some buffleheads. And these are snow geese. So in North Carolina, there's a place in, I'm trying to think, Northampton County or one of those counties nearby. And the snow geese fly from Alaska and Canada all the way down to North Carolina to migrate. And when they come in for a landing, they look like giant airplanes. They are the most amazing things to see. And Canada geese, there are so many Canada geese now. Most stay here. They don't even fly back up north, but some do. Some still fly up north. And tundra swans, another bird that comes down here, and just like the snow geese, find those giant fields in North Carolina to migrate to for the winter, and then they fly home. They also look like giant airplanes landing. And we're at the end of our book. I hope you enjoyed looking for birds and watching this. So this was video number 3, and I hope you enjoy looking for all those birds. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.